Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Once a week, or I try to do it once a week, we put a new paper place sketch up on our Facebook group, Cutting Up with Patty Ann. Hey, come on over and join us. You can see it right up here, facebook.com/groups/Cutting Up with Patty Ann, all smushed together as one word. But anyway, I get these paper place sketches from here, and they said it's fine for us to use them. And I put one up about every week. And Sandy had said, how do you get started making these things? So I thought I would show her in Silhouette, whether you're using it for your Cricut or your Cameo, how to get started making something like this. So let's go to my Silhouette. And here in Silhouette, I have two examples of some other, whoops, let me move these out of the way, that some people in the group had posted. Stephanie, isn't that beautiful? And Chow had both posted these. They had both taken the challenge. And these are the ones they came up with. So you can see that's 1, 2, 3 rectangles, kind of are angled off from each other, and then a straight piece going in around the belly of the card. Chow, it looks like here, used ribbon, and I don't know, Stephanie, if that's ribbon or not. And then Stephanie added some extra embellishments with a die-cut butterfly. Child probably used foil on her word hello. And Stephanie, you can see she added a nice offset to hers. And I'm not sure, she probably colored these, and Child probably colored this one too. But what I'm going to show you today, though, is how to do one that's just a print then cut. So let me get rid of these two guys and show you that this is what we're going to make today, or I'm going to make today. I got this image off of Google, and I turned it into this, and then I turned the whole mess into this card that I think is super duper cute. And this would be a print then cut. Well, not all of it. Let me show you. So let me group all this together so I don't lose anything. So the first thing I did was I got my sample, and to bring it in here to Silhouette, all you have to do is right click on the image in our website or in our Facebook group. You may have to click on it first to open it in its own window, and then right click and say copy, and then just come over here and say right click and paste. That'll paste that image right here. The next thing that I did was I went on Google and I just searched for a cute little girl, and I found this little girl, and I thought she was super cute. So again, since this is just for my own personal use, I'm not selling this thing, I'm just showing you how to do this stuff. I'm going to show you what you can do with her to get her as a nice print and cut. What I would recommend you do is come over here to the trace tool, select the trace area, and then just come over here and trace over her like that. And since the trace didn't get everything, like the hearts and some of the other little items in her, I would probably up the threshold to try to get more of those things included in my image. And I like it like that. I want to make sure that the lines are not too jaggedy. Oh no, they look pretty good. Maybe go down a little bit. See if I still get everything. Okay, that looks pretty good. I will tell you that this won't be a good one to use for a one that you're going to cut as an SVG, because there's lots of little openings like this right here that will cause you problems. And there's another one over here on the right. You'll be able to find better ones than this, but for a print and cut, this one's perfectly adorable. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on Trace and Detach right here. And that gives me my little girl right there. Oh, I still didn't get I did get them, but I guess they're not connected. Okay, so now I can get rid of this part by just deleting it on my keyboard, and now I have, isn't she adorable? This super cute little girl. So this would be a cute one to use for our cards for kids. If you're not familiar with what we're doing with cards for kids, be sure to look on our website too. It's a way that we're donating cards that we make to kids that are experiencing bad times for some reason or another. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move her over and this over, because I don't know if you noticed, look at all these little extra boxes here. I don't need all of those. So I'm going to move her way over, and the hearts, the things I do need, way over. And then I'm just going to go like this to see, is there a bunch of junk here I don't need? And there certainly is, as you can see. I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Okay, and then I'll scroll back out. So now I'm going to bring over my paper play sketch. And the first thing I'm going to do is, I know that the card size that I like to make is an A2 size card. So what that means is the very front of my card measures, when it's folded in half, let me get you a rectangle and show you. When it's folded in half, let's make it the regular size first. So it's 8.5, because that's how wide our cardstock is, and you can get 2 A2 size cards out of one piece of cardstock. So I'm going to make this 8.5 wide. 8.5, and it's going to be 5.5 tall, because if I'm getting 2 out of one piece of cardstock, 5.5 tall plus 5.5 tall equals 11, and that's how big my cardstock is. So that's how large my piece of cardstock is that I need, but this only shows the front of the card. So I'm going to have to cut that in half. So instead of working for all of that, I know if I want to cut 8.5 in half, that ends up being 4.25 wide. Enter. There we go. So this is the size that my card is. Now, if this came in and it was really big like this, lots of times what I like to try to do is just kind of bring this down. I can actually just right click on it and say bring it to the front, and bring it right over top of this one. And I can't really see the one behind it, but if I come over here to the little paint palette up here in the upper right hand corner, I can click on that and I can change the transparency of it, and then I'm more able to see what's behind it. So now I can kind of line this up and make sure that I make it, my box back there, pretty much the same size like that. Or actually what I should have done was I should leave this as it was. So I'm going to make this again 4.25, enter, that's the width, by 5.5 tall. And what I really should do is not change the height and the width of this piece, because this is the actual A2 size card. I should change the size of this to match that. So I'm going to click on this and stretch it out. So there it is. Now those two should be exactly the same. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just change this one to white, because that's, or actually no, I was kind of following what Chow had done. So I'm going to change it to black, as if I've used black cardstock that I folded in half. And I'm going to click this and change it to black. And now I'm going to add an offset on this. Click on it, and I'm going to add an offset. That's when you come over here to the little star, and I'm going to say, but it's going to be an internal offset. I want this offset to be inside or internal, because I want it to be this pink part, and the pink part is more internal than the black. So I'm going to say internal, and I'm going to leave it at the default and say apply. And I can't really see it, but I'm going to change it because I know it's this transparent color. I'm going to change it the same color that I have used here by clicking on the eyedropper and then coming down and getting that color. So look at that. That's perfect. Exactly what I wanted. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a rectangle and make one this size. So just come over to the rectangle and just draw one out that's exactly that size, like that. Okay, but you know what? I have 3 rectangles that are that size. So I'm going to right click and say duplicate, and right click and duplicate. So now I have 3 of them. And one of them, as you'll notice, the one I put the little girl on, I left white. So I'll change this one to white. This one, I used one of my patterns that I have. So I came up here to the paint palette again, and came to this, the third one over. This one is the fill color. This is a gradient color, and this is pattern. So I'm going to click on pattern, and I'm going to scroll way down here. These are the ones that you get from Silhouette. I could use polka dots or anything, actually. Maybe I will. What I used was one that I got myself. It's down here. You can add your own patterns. It was this one. So I'll just do that again, and I'll add this one here too. What's that? Nah, I like that better. Okay. Oh, I needed to make this one white. I forgot I went over it. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab both of these and group them. And I'm going to say send them to the back, because I have a feeling when I bring this, no, it didn't do it. I thought it was going to go behind it, but it did not. So that's fine. So I'm going to bring this one up here first. I can bring it up here if I want to. And I'm going to bring over my little girl, but I don't think, yeah, I did show you how to do this. So here she is here actually, because I have her hearts. This one was the one I had shown you how to do. And all I need to do is move her hearts back into place, kind of, and then just grab everything and group it. And obviously, I'm going to have to make her a lot smaller to fit on there. Oh, so she went behind. So I'm going to right-click on her and say, bring her to the front, because I want her the most up front. Perfect, just like that. Actually, she's still a little bit too big, so let me make her a little smaller. Like that. Love it. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and place these other pieces behind that. So I'm going to bring one of them over, but notice that Chow, and since I'm imitating hers, she had a little white offset on both of these rectangles. I hope you can see that. So I'm going to put a white offset around both of these. So I'm going to click on it, come over here to the star or the offset panel, and just say offset. And I'm going to make it a lot smaller because I don't like how big that thing is. And now, right now, the corners of the offset are rounded. I want them to be squared, the corners. So I'm going to click on square. And I'm going to come way over here to where it shows a transparent color, because that's what color my offset is right now. And I want to change it to white, like that. All right. So now I'm just going to group both of these together. And I can go ahead and move this one up here. So let's see, I think I'll twirl it a little bit like this and move it down. And it might be just a hair bit too big, so I might make it a little bit smaller like that. Twirl it. Trying to make it look pretty much like the one I have over there. Okay, that looks cute. And now I'll do the same thing to this one. I'm going to come over to the star offset panel. I'm going to say offset. I'm going to change it again to 0.75 because that's the one I decided I liked. And I'm going to make the corners be a sharp right angle rather than rounded. And I'm going to come over here again and change the color to white of my offset. Then I'm going to group both of them before I move them, because if I don't, look, I can move one off. So let me go back. I'm going to group both of these together. And bring this one over here now. And I'm going to twirl it a little bit. Okay, so I noticed that I have one in front of the other one that I didn't tap before, but you know, that's not bothering me at all. I really don't mind it. So let's see. I think I'll just twirl this a little bit more. Okay, so the next thing that I can do is I can either put the ribbon on here like Chow did, or I can get the a rectangle again and just draw a rectangle right here. And I'm going to right click on this and say bring it to the front. And I need to, whoopsie, right click on her and also bring her to the front. It would have helped if I had grouped them. Would have been easier. So there's that. And I know how wide this pink piece is. Remember, we made it 4 inches wide. So I'm going to come up here and just change it to 4 and hit enter. So it's going to fit perfectly. And then if it's really a ribbon, you know, I can just put a ribbon on there later. If it's not, and it's a piece of cardstock, I can just go ahead and get any color I'd like to use. Maybe I want to use white. I don't know what that would look like. No, I don't really like white. Let's see. I could use the pink. But what I had actually done before on my sample here was I actually had some glitter over here in my pattern fill. If I go way down here, I'd saved some glitters over here. The only problem is they have like a white border on each side, and I should get rid of that because look, see that? And I don't want that white border. So what I would actually have to do is this. I would just make that larger, come to my knife tool, and just hold down my shift key and slice that off and delete it. Oops, click on it and delete it. And then do the same thing over here. Get the knife tool, hold down my shift so it's a nice straight line, and delete this piece. And then I can make this again 4 inches wide so it fits perfectly. And bring it over here. And I think it's a little bit too wide. There we go. So I could do it just like this. So on our thing that we do on the website, on the Facebook group, and I'm going to grab this little girl and that white one and see if I can just group those two things together. Okay, yeah. So what we do on the Facebook group thing is you can either actually make this card, or you can just do this and show what you would do with Silhouette just to practice using this software. Oh, but I forgot. I've got to add the text. So to add the text, let me scroll in so you can see how adorable. All right, so to add the text, just come over here to the text tool, and I would type in the word hello, because that's what both Chow and Stephanie did. And I'm going to change my font by clicking off it and click back on, and come way over here to the text style panel. And I love using Samantha Craft. I just love that font. If you don't have it, I have a link for it down below. It's not free, but you'll use it a million times. So I'm just going to change its color to black, and let's see how that's going to fit. Okay, it's a little too big, so I'll make it smaller. All right, so that's that. So here, let's see now, maybe I need to refigure that though. I might want to make that much smaller like that. And here's why. Because if I'm going to have this be a print then cut, this is going to be a print then cut, and this is going to be a print then cut, and this is going to be a print then cut. I could also make this be a print then cut if I want to, if I have this as a pattern. If I do want to just put this on here like Stephanie did, now let me show you what Stephanie did. She did this, and if you don't want to do the hello as a print then cut, you can do it like this. So what Stephanie did was she took this text and she offset it by using the same little star in the offset panel. She said offset. I'm not sure how big she offset it, maybe a little tinier. And she probably changed it to white or something, or she could. And I could actually grab all this and make it bigger if I want. So what she did was she made this thing a print then cut, I believe. Let's delete, it's already grouped, I guess. Nope, I didn't group it. So I'm going to group this. And then I can put this, it could be up here like this, which would be super cute too. And if you wanted to, you could, angle it like that if you like. Whatever you like, this is your design. But here's the thing, here's how we do this now. I would put this over here, and this I guess I'll pretend is a piece of ribbon, so I'm going to move that off. This is going to be a print then cut, and so is this. This piece right here is just going to be a piece of my pink cardstock, so it doesn't need to be a print then cut. I know how to cut a 4.25 piece by a 5.5. I can cut it with my Cricut or my Cameo, but I'll work with these first. So let me get these off of here too. All right. So if you're using this with Cricut, with Cameo, all you have to do is come over here to the page setup panel, and the media size, that means what size is your cardstock that you're using? What's the media size? Well, mine's 8.5 by 11. It's not 12 by 12, so I have to change it to letter size, or 8.5 by 11. Okay, and then Also, I need to tell my machine, don't forget to print the registration marks so that my machine knows where to cut it. So I just come over here to the third tab over. See where it says registration marks? Click on that. Right now it's toggled to off. I'll make it be on. Now you can see the registration marks. The other last thing that I would always recommend you do is to come back here to that first icon on the left, the page setup, and turn on your show cut border. So what that means is you don't want any of your images to go outside of that border. Okay, you want to keep everything inside if you want your Cricut or your Cameo machine to cut everything that's on here. So it's going to go ahead and print and cut everything. So the first thing I would do is go to File, Print. It's going to give me a preview of what my print's going to look like. That looks perfect. So I would print it, and I would change, I would go like this. I would change my preferences on my machine, not to standard. I like it to be high quality or even as high as I can get it, right? So that the picture looks super fabulous when it's printed. But I'm going to cancel this because I don't really want to do this one right now. But I would go ahead and print her. And let's assume this page was already printed. I will put the page on my mat, oriented exactly the same way it is here. And then I would go to send. Now, it's going to look a little odd. Look at this. All of these things are going to cut out. And that's not at all what we want. We don't want this inner piece to cut and then the offset. We don't want this outer piece and then her and the hearts, etc. So what you have to do is grab all these and just grab them and put drag a box around them to grab them, to select them, and come over here, and instead of where it says cut, have it say cut edge. And now look what's going to happen. It's going to do perfectly. Just cut around all these edges. Okay? And the other part of the card, you know how to cut, hopefully, these parts. So if you're saving this for your Cricut machine, here's what I suggest you do. Since you know you have an exact size you want this thing to be, what I would do is this. I would grab all of this, right click and say group. And then I would look up here or down here and see what is the width of this whole thing grouped together. Well, it's 6.799. So what I would do is I would go to File, Save Selection, and the reason why I'm saving the selection is I just want to save what's here, what I've selected. I don't want to save all this junk over here, just the selection. So I selected it by just dragging a mouse over it, go to File, Save Selection, save it to my hard drive. I'll just call it Little Girl Card for Cricut. Uh-oh. I forgot to do something though. What did I tell you? The width of this is 6.799. So before I start typing in the name of it, I put 6.799 and then Little Girl for Cricut. Okay? So you type in the width first, and that's important. Type in the width first. That's all you need to worry about. Change it to a JPEG and say, I'm going to put it, oh, I don't want it there. I'm just going to put it, I'll put it in my downloads. All right, and say OK. And I'm going to leave all these just as they are. Okay, now there's only one problem I might have, and I'll tell you how to fix it if we do have it. So let's go over there now to Cricut. Open it up. There's an easy remedy if I have a problem that I sometimes do have. And it's going to be a new project. I'm going to make this big. I'm going to go to Upload. This is something we worked on in our Patreon class. It was a lot of fun. You ought to join us at Patreon. Anyway, upload an image, browse. I put it in my downloads. Okay, there it is, 6.799, Little Girl for Cricut. Open. Perfect, look at that. So I'm going to go to Complex and continue. And now what I have to do is get this little tool here, the Select and Erase tool, and go around and just select the part. And look, that did perfectly well. Perfect. So we have the nice offset on here. We have this beautiful piece here and a nice offset. And look at that beautiful offset on the word hello. So we'll continue. The cuts look great. Uh-oh, I see something weird. Do you see that piece right there? Do you see that? I need to go back and get rid of that piece. So let's go back. So there must be a little bit of white down here. Yep, there it is. I need to have that select and erase tool still and get rid of that. And now continue. Now look how nice we have the 3 rectangles. Okay, and say save. Okay, and I'm going to click on this and insert it. All right, now here's the reason why we have to have that 6.799. If you're trying to make something an exact size, and I am trying to make this an exact size because I'm making an A2 size card, and I want these pieces to fit on my card exactly where I want them to fit. But look, we put the number up here, 6.799. So all we have to do is this. Click on our image and come up here to size. Make sure the lock is still locked. Change this right now to 6.799 and hit enter. And now that's going to be the exact size that we need it to be. However, if we go to print and cut this, we're not going to be able to because this is too big for our print and cut. So I probably should have angled these better so I would have an easier time slicing. But let's check it out. Because notice this little thing right here. It says, not supported, your image is too big, blah, blah, blah. So just come over here to the shape tool, get a square. Here's a square. I'm going to change it into a rectangle by unlocking the lock, dragging this down. Then I'm going to grab all this stuff. And since I have only 2 items, basically, even though it looks like more, this one is a group. So that's 1 item, and the rectangle is the other. Remember, if you have 2 and only 2 items selected, you can slice. So now I can slice, get rid of this, and move her out of the way. However, this still isn't going to work because this is going to be too big. I still won't be able to do this. Notice when I click on it, it still has that little warning. So I'm going to take the same box that I had before. I could rotate it a little bit if I want to. And unlock it and stretch it out to cover that one. And now look how many things I have selected over here in the layers panel. 2 and only 2, so I can slice. So I can get rid of that and get rid of that. And now my things should work, I believe, because that will go on by itself. And I believe this would be just fine, hopefully. Yeah. So if we go to make it now, it's going to put those. It's going to actually put it all on one. And the reason why I can do that now is because the way I had it situated before, it was too long. But now that it's rearranged itself, it works perfectly. So all I would do is go continue, and then it would say, send it to your printer. So I'd have to send this thing to my printer. And then once it was printed, I would put it on my mat, oriented exactly the same way. In other words, with the word hello in the upper left-hand corner and the paper in the upper left-hand corner, my cardstock. And then I would be well on my way and ready to go. So I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. Please join us over on our Facebook group because, like I said, we do these just about every week. And as a matter of fact, it's the day for me to put up a new one. So here's one that we had done also. And look at these beautiful cards. Look at this thing. Isn't that adorable? And we just use these paper sketches as our incentives to get started. That paper sketch that she worked on had Stephanie come up with this beautiful card. I just love it. So it's so much fun. Let's see if there were any more in the comments section. Yes, here's another one. Here's one that Chow did. Isn't it adorable? I love these things. So I hope you'll join us over there. Thanks again for joining me today. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell. I'm still trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. So if you could tell your friends about it, I'd sure be appreciative. Again, check out my links down below. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.